Hey guys, this is Louis. Welcome back to Stoned Ache Problems. Quick announcement before we go ahead with today's subject. I do want to go ahead and announce, or kind of want to take a poll. Well, not a poll, but kind of made my decision already. But I'm going to go ahead and deviate away from the Stoned Ache Problems and go to Biblio Fitness. That is going to be the name from here on out. I will be changing my name after the making of this video, so do not be alarmed. But I feel like that name and that title encompasses my objectives and the goals that I have in mind with this channel, in a better context than Stone Age Problems. Like, I do like to work out, and I like to read, and I like to talk about those two things. As you can tell, I had to start repping the gym, Miami Iron, awesome fucking gym, and I got myself a tee today, and I said, fuck it, might as well wear it. It's an amazing gym. So yeah, that's gonna be the quick announcement. I'm gonna go ahead with Biblio Fitness. I feel like it also goes well with the whole atmosphere of the fitness industry nowadays. So fuck it, I'm here not to only talk about working out. Obviously, I'm also trying to, bring about reading and history and stuff like that. That I feel like many people my age, or many people that like to hit the gym, don't really concentrate on. I think I said this in one of my first episodes. Like, I'm not trying to be another guy that teaches you how to deadlift. Like, you can find people way more qualified than I to do that. So that's it. And before we forget, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Please help your boy out with the algorithm. So on today's episode, I wanted to go ahead and broach upon a subject that is going to be a little bit open-ended. I'm obviously not going to be able to provide a definite answer to this particular conundrum or quagmire that we seem to find ourselves in throughout the course of through the entirety of human history, basically. And that's every single method of government that we have constructed and that we have attempted seems to have flaws, obviously. Everything in theory works, and we could go about it from many different angles. We could start out with monarchies, and a lot of people say that we as human beings are naturally inclined to monarchies, a centralization of leadership. And that really goes back down to our tribalistic instincts back in the days when we used to be hunters and gatherers, and we used to have an alpha male. And that obviously compounded and compartmentalized it to something so much more complex as we became more complex, and as our civilization became more complex, and as we started adopting religions and different methods of morality and things of that nature, and society became more complex in general. But monarchy basically really does originate from that original form of government or leadership, or how we as a species, as a group, as a tribe came together. We had an alpha male, and that's how a lot of other species are. Obviously, you have the silverback gorilla, you have the leader of the wolf pack and things of that nature. So you have a lot of we're not an anomaly in terms of this sort of method of dominance hierarchy. And monarchies is the personification of that, but it has its flaws. Obviously, in theory it works. In theory, it's supposed to make everything much more effective, much more streamlined. You don't have to go through all the bureaucracies of things like a parliamentary government or democracy, of having to get votes and stuff like that just to pass a law through. Especially in wartime, something like a monarchy, a centralization of power, is highly beneficial. And that's what happened. That's what would transpire a lot of times during the Roman Republic before Augustus. Was during great crisis, they would vote a dictator. That's what happened with Fabius Fabius Maus. Sorry, Yeah, Fabian, you know, the whole Fabian strategy, whatever. There was not even just him. There was quite a bit of dictators throughout the course of the Second Punic War. During times of great crisis, it would behoove you to centralize power so you could be quick and decisive in your decisions and not have to go through the fucking sludge of what is bureaucracy. But it also has its flaws, and that's humans. You know, you as an individual, you as a monarch can be this great fucking individual, cast a huge shadow, and your errors will not be able to compete, will not be able to measure up to the greatness that you yourself has been able to develop and has been able to create throughout the course of your reign. And that's happened multiple times, obviously. You know, that happened with Charlemagne. You know, a great example of that. Charlemagne, the first man to really centralize power in Europe since the fall of the Western Roman Empire, 476 AD. He was the first one to really bring everybody together. But as soon as he died, his custom of his people was to split power amongst his various sons. And that empire dissolved immediately. That's why I never understood the whole thing about, oh, family's thicker than friends, or blood's thicker than water. Let me tell you something. Throughout the course of human history, it's usually your family that ends up killing you. Not your friends. It's your family. It's your family that's going to end up fucking killing you, or gouging your eyes out. There's cases in the Byzantine Empire where mother would fucking cut out the eyes of their fucking sons just so they can remain with their power or regency, because their sons are no longer physically capable to rule the kingdom. Sounds fucked up, but that happened quite often. And monarchy obviously has its inherent flaws, which is that, like, your state really the proficiency and the proficiency of your state relies solely on your head of state, on the monarch. If it's a great individual like Frederick the Great, like Alexander the Great, it's gonna do well. But if it's the opposite sort of the spectrum, like look what happened with Russia in 1917 with Tsar Nicholas II, an incompetent fool, and look what happened. That what could happen to you. And the example that I just illustrated with Charlemagne and his sons Louis the Pious and all that crazy shit that happened afterwards, that's what could happen. We could move on to democracy in parliament. You know, democracy is supposed to be, you know, demokras, an authority of the people. It was made famous by Athens. But one thing that I really learned about one thing I started to notice, and one thing I started to realize that it really slaps you in the face. Just like when you fall upon the Roman Republic, it says it's a democracy, but it's really not. The big boys, the rich are the ones that are going to be the elected officials, obviously. They're the ones with the power, they're the ones with the prestige, they're the ones with the pull, and they have the right friends to place themselves in positions of influence and power. So it really wasn't a democracy. It really wasn't a parliamentary system. Look at Britain. Look at the United States now. You're going to tell me it's a democracy? I don't think so. Look at this, you know, communism. I don't know how many times I have to continuously talk about this particular political philosophy, but all those things have one thing in common. And that's we humans are some greedy motherfuckers. And we will espouse whatever fucking bullshit moral values or the mainstream thing nowadays in order to place ourselves in positions of influence. But do we really give a fuck about the people? No, we don't. So the foundation of that form of government in and itself is already eroded before it even began. Because why? The human condition. Our forms of government are inherently flawed because we are flawed. everything in theory makes sense. Monarchy, democracy, even communism. Communism, a fucking utopia of the working class, and everyone's equal, and there's no more suffering, there's no more class division. It's a fucking terrible, terrible attempt at simplifying human history, but it makes sense because it targets the vast majority of people that are sick and tired of being oppressed, or sick and tired of feeling that we're being used. We're the ones that are the fucking work mules, but we don't get any of the benefits. It's not that difficult to understand why it's such an appealing political theory. But that's the key word, theory. Once you translate into the human, into the real world, into reality, we are the stopgap. So what do we do? What do we do? The obvious answer is that we humans have to change. But can we? I know I'm about to place myself in a very pessimistic attitude or light, a pessimistic light, you know, to whoever's viewing this, but I'm just stating out the obvious, and I'm just stating out the prevailing issue, because I've read quite a bit, and I'm pretty proud of it, but I've read the nasty shit. And there has been very solid arguments that we humans are born good, and, you know, when we're filled with greatness and we're filled with happiness, we want to spread it to others and things of that nature. I'll give it to you. But human history shows the complete contrary. Human history shows that when someone has absolute power, we don't really like to share it. We don't like to spread it around. We like to solidify our position and use whatever government that we're using, and use the vernacular that's going to that fits with that regime, that fits with that form of government, in order to solidify and retain our positions of influence. And that happens all the time. The big boys of democracy in Athens, they were not fans of democracy. They were not. They hated it. They thought democracy was stupid, that it's mob rule. And let me tell you something, they're making a whole lot of sense with what's going on nowadays. I really am not a fan of democracy anymore. You know, I used to have this sort of naive mentality a few years ago, like, oh, we don't need federalism, we all could do it on our own, and blah, 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 blah. But as I get older, my apologies, as I get older, I start realizing that, yeah, we do need a form of government, because there's a whole lot of people that are too stupid to do it on their own. They need guidance. That I am not going to argue with. We can't just let people scatter to the wind and let them do whatever they want, because nothing is ever going to get done. That I understand. But what form of government can we possibly create that is going to override our tribalistic need deep within our cerebral cortex, to ensure the survival of our, not fuck the species, ensure the survival of not only your own person, but your family. And to make sure that they are good once you're gone. We have to evolve as humans. We really do have to evolve as a species in order to kind of figure that out. Because everything technically works, but it doesn't. You know, look at democracy here in the United States. You're going to tell me it's a democracy? No, I don't even believe there's such a thing as politics anymore. Everyone's out for their own. It's that simple. There really is no answer to this, but it's something I did really want to bring and fuck with your head for a little bit and see how it rattles. See how it rattles your brain, you know. And I mean, hopefully we can. But we humans are so really fucked up. We're really fucked up, and we're really selfish. uh, you know, you can't really live an altruistic lifestyle, in my opinion. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a meaning. Everything has an end goal of gratification in one form of another. So we really do need to take this into consideration, considering how we're going in the world nowadays. How it's becoming more prevalent and more obvious that our elected officials don't give a fuck about the people that they're represented in the first place. It's becoming quite obvious. You have to be a complete moron not to see it. But we're at a crossroads here, or not even a crossroads, we're at a dead end right now. We're in uncharted territory because what can you do? Every form of government has failed. Every single one of them. They might be still going on right now, but they fail. They failed the people that they're supposed to represent. They failed the people that it was supposed to bring about redemption or happiness or peace and all this, or bountifulness and stuff like that. That's what every government and form of government is supposed to be for. But it's failed. Monarchy, communism, democracies, fucking everything. So just kind of wanted to talk about it real quick. Like I said, I don't have an answer for this. I'm not on that level to provide some sort of resolution. I don't see it. I really don't, unfortunately. We humans have to evolve in order to get that resolution. And unfortunately, I don't really see it nowadays. It's scary. So, food for thought. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Hope it fucks with you a little bit. It was, it's a question that's going to rattle me until the end of my days, probably, for sure. So maybe someone comes up with a solution that I'm not aware of. That